sometimes a parent is like, my child's wearing this on Shabbos and it's not appropriate. And I challenge them and I say, why is it not appropriate? Because what will the neighbors say about me? That's not a value. Yeah. What will my neighbors say about me? What value is that? Is it a value that you should look nice on Shabbos, dress appropriately for the Shabbos queen, right? If your value is for you that my neighbors will talk about me, your teen will see right through that, and they don't want that. That's not real. That's like faking a life for the neighbors. They want real.
Hello there, I'm Tanya Khazanov, and you are listening to Human and Holy. Today's episode is a conversation all about imparting Jewish values in our children in a loving and sustainable way. Our guest today is Chani Heyman, who is a parenting coach currently based in Israel, a student of Rebbetzin Spetner, who is a renowned chinuch educator who created a framework for imparting Jewish values and parenting Jewish children in ways that are sustainable, developmentally appropriate, and respond to the needs of each individual child. This was an incredible conversation covering the full range of childhood, how to incorporate and teach young children the values of Judaism in ways that become baked into who they are, how to navigate resistance towards certain Jewish values as kids get older and develop their own perspective on life and get to make their own choices, how to operate from a place of overflow and love within our own Judaism so that naturally spills over into our child's development. This was an incredibly open and grounded and insightful conversation, and I think you will walk away with real takeaways to take home to your own children, to incorporate more of your Jewish values into your home, to reframe some experiences or challenges you may have around communicating these values. I'm grateful to Chani for her time. Thank you so much for being here. Before we get started with today's episode, I want to mention that today's episode was sponsored in honor of the Shloshim of Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Kalmanson, the Rosh Yeshiva in New Haven, who recently passed. His full name is Yosef Yitzchak ben Yikusil Dov Ber. It feels very fitting that this episode dedication landed on this episode, which is all about educating our children with a love of Torah. Rabbi Kalmanson was known for his love of Torah, a man who wanted nothing more than to study and to write and to teach and impart his own joy and love that he had for the Torah. He authored many Sfarim, educated thousands of students in the New Haven Chabad Yeshiva, and was beloved by so many people. I had the honor of meeting him and was always struck by his gentle and holy aura. He felt like a man from another world, from generations past, someone so deeply humble, so connected to the Torah, so full of love for others, and so absolutely attuned with what God wanted and needed from him. He was a brilliant Torah scholar, a lover of the Jewish people, and it is such an honor to have this episode dedicated in honor of Shloshim by the California Chazanovs. I welcome you in honor of Shloshim to do a mitzvah in honor of his neshama, Yosef Yitzchak ben Yikusil Dov Ber. May his neshama have an aliyah. May any inspiration taken from this episode be in honor of him. On to today's episode.
Welcome to Human and Holy.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you here and to explore parenting from a Jewish perspective. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, thank you for having me. So excited to be here. My name is Chani, and I learned Rebbetzin Spetner's parenting techniques in Israel. We lived there for when I first got married. So I took her course for 3 years, and then we moved to LA. And people knew that I took the course in Israel, and one friend in particular, and it'll be okay if I say her name, Rachel Leviks, she was really bugging me, like, you have to give it, I have 10 women together, you're doing in class, we're starting in class, I'm coming over. And I was like, no, Rachel, we are not doing this, I am not teaching this, I don't know. And then she got my husband on board, so they would both like bug me, like, you're starting in class, you're doing this. And so then I just thought, I'm like, okay, I'm going to reach out to Rebbetzin Spetner. She'll probably say no, and that will be the end of it. Meanwhile, I reached out to her, and she told me I should teach the course, and Hashem will, give me hadracha, and I should do it in LA. That it's a need in LA to do this, and if I ever have anything that comes up that we never brought up in class, I should always ask her. I shouldn't make anything up. And I was like, Yes, I don't want to make anything up. And I've been in touch with her. And it's been a life-changing experience for me and for so many mothers that I've been teaching.
And now you're the most renowned Jewish parenting educator in LA.
Okay.
So seriously, you're like, I was so scared to start. And I'm like, you're booked every single night for these huge classes.
Right.
And everyone is constantly speaking about it and saying, like, if you need any type of support as a mother, or you just want to get a Jewish perspective on parenting, you need to take Chani Heyman's course.
Thank you.
So you're clearly doing something that's really touching people and helping.
So and it's so many different types of women. I give classes to Hillel parents and even to like temple, like they go to Sinai Temple and like those schools, and then all the way to the Cheder parents have taken my class. So it's the whole spectrum. And when I first started teaching a more, let's say, Hillel parent style, some topics that I talk about, I didn't know what perspective to give. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to Rebbetzin Spetner, and she said, it's emes. The Torah is truth. You're just teaching truth. And people, it goes into them. When it's truth, people see that it's true. And they usually accept it. And when, let's say, I have mixed classes, like a lot of times, a lot of different types of people be in one class, which is also so beautiful that we're all coming together because we all have kids. We're all dealing with so many of the same core things, even though one person, there's always a twist in different families and different styles of religious levels. But when you come together in a class, you're like, wow, we're all dealing with teens' attitudes. Maybe they'll be saying different things, but we're all dealing with the same type of dilemmas, hardships. So that's like a nice achdus part of it. And then sometimes after class, I'll say, wow, I can't believe you said that in that type of setting. And I said, it's true. The Torah is true. I'm not embarrassed to speak truth. It's truth. And they really take it.
Mm. And also, as you said, everyone wants to impart Jewish values on their children. Maybe everyone has like a little bit, we're all different and have unique perspectives on what exactly those values are and how we want to give them over. But just everyone wants to impart their Jewish love and value to their children.
And learn how to do that. And it's not about my values. Also, I'm not giving over my values. I won't tell people when people say, oh, but what about you? Do you let your son do X, Y, and Z? I said, you have to live with it. Mm-hmm. It's not my values. You have to give over your values. So I'm not even going to tell you, oh, do you let your kids go to the movies? It's not about me.
Yeah.
Do you want them to go to the movies? I will help you figure out how to implement your decision, but I'm not going to make that decision for you. Even with younger kids. Oh, do you let your kids rollerblade in the house? It's not my house. You have to be able to live with it. If it drives you crazy, then say no.
Right. If
you could handle it, then say yeah. But I'm not going to tell you what you should do.
Right. I love that. That you don't impose your own value onto what, and this is how Jewish parents should raise Jewish children.
No.
Yeah.
Because, and even in halacha, there's so many different levels and so many different rabbis. And it's always go ask your rabbi, find your rabbi. Because also when you hear it from your own rabbi, instead of, oh, Chani Heyman said I'm allowed, it's not how. Yeah. Especially with teenagers. So many times I say, especially if you went through the Beis Yaakov system, or even if you didn't, we don't know what the bottom line halacha is. Mm-hmm. We know how we were raised, and it's beautiful and it's great. And if it's working for you, that's excellent. But then when sometimes teenagers start pushing back, you really have to find out, what is the actual halacha? Am I forcing things on my teenager that they're fighting back with that maybe it's extra? And it's not really a point to have this fight with my teenager.
Let's talk about that general experience of trying to impart Jewish values on our children. I know as a mother and any parent that you want to give over your Yiddishkeit, your Judaism to your children, but you want to do it in a way that inspires them to own it for themselves. What is your perspective on that, on what it means to give over Jewish values in a way that engenders the same love that you feel for your Judaism?
So beautiful. I think you're a step ahead, because you have the love and you want to give it over. Sometimes I meet people and mothers that they not necessarily were giving that love in childhood, and they don't even have that to begin with. So the first step would honestly be, why are you giving over why do you want your child to marry Jewish, right? That's a very important value. Parents want their children to marry Jewish, but why? Do you know why? Why is that so important to you? And that all of a sudden they stop and they're like, I don't know why it's so important to me. And so the first step would be figure out why it's important to you. Learn, go to classes, listen to the Human Holy podcast, right? There's so many things out there nowadays. In order to give it over to your kids, you have to first be filled up. And even if you went through a religious system, it could have just been rote. And this is how we do things. And it's just rote. And we dive in just because we're Jewish. It doesn't mean anything to you. So if that's how you were raised also, there might not be meaning there for you either. And you really have to find the meaning for yourself. And then once you have that meaning, then there's one technique called overflow. And overflow is really just getting so excited about anything in Judaism, anything Yiddishkeit. And there's a whole spectrum. Like Hashem, it's like a kid in a candy store. There's so many different options. Somebody likes sour sticks and somebody else likes Twizzlers, right? And there's so many different mitzvahs. There's like chesed, there's tzedakah, there's learning Torah, there's davening. There's so many different things. What do you connect with? Mm-hmm. What inspires? It could be nature. It could be finding Hashem in the nature. There's so many different things. It could be science, right? There's so many different aspects. What does it for you? You could have a lot, but you could have a few. What does it for you? And through that, don't be shy. I find sometimes we are quiet about our emotions with anything Judaism, like embarrassed to let our kids see us cry or embarrassed to get excited. Don't be embarrassed, right? What you are passionate about and emotional about, that is what sticks with your kids. That's what they remember. They'll remember your feelings, how it was going into Pesach, how it is going into Shabbos. Is there excitement in the air or is it frustration? Is it anger? What are your feelings? And that really leaves a very strong, lasting impression on kids.
I love that. Find areas that you love and then develop heighten the love to such a degree that there's natural overflow to the people around you.
That's a very important point. Natural. It can't be fake because kids zone in on that, the fakeness, and they don't like that.
They don't like that.
No.
Kids don't like fake. Well, let me ask you, there are areas of a person's Judaism where they could be struggling or not necessarily feel such a connection with, but they still want to impart the value to their children. So what does it look like to give it over if you don't necessarily have this just overflow of love and joy for this mitzvah or this specific area of your Judaism?
Right. So if you could find some part of it that you connect with, go research that topic more. Maybe you never really learned it well enough. Maybe tefillah, davening was always something that was a burden for you. And you never got to develop a feeling of interest in it because you felt like it was a burden. I had a mother that said to me that she really never connected with it because it was such a burden. It had to be done by a specific time. And it was always negative and just straight. And you have to, until one time maybe it was something like the Orange, the BMH Minyan, and it was so inspiring and it was so much song and connection that she fell in love with it. So maybe explore things that you thought you didn't like in Judaism and see if there is another approach to it that you could connect with. But if you're not connecting with it, then maybe your husband would connect with something like it's nice that you marry a partner that's not exactly like you. And everybody connects with different things. So maybe they'll get that love from that part of the religion from your husband and not necessarily from you. I once went to a shiur by Shira Hershoff. You know her in LA? And it was the 5 love languages, how they connect you to Hashem. And it was so interesting. The 5 love languages. Yeah. So she said, Hashem, a lot of different mitzvahs connect through the 5 love languages. There'll be mitzvahs with touch. There'll be mitzvahs with acts of giving, right? There's the different love languages, acts of service, words of affirmation would be tefillah. Acts of service is something like chesed, right? So there's different ways of connecting with Hashem. And just like you have a different love language to your spouse and to your children, there's a love language how you connect to Hashem. And not to judge other people who connect with Hashem differently. And it was so interesting for me because let's say, I guess one of my love languages with Hashem would be, which one is it like? I guess it would be, what's the love language with would it be words of affirmation? No.
Quality time, acts of service.
Quality time, acts of service. Maybe it's a combination of those. I love, let's say when being at the Kotel, when hundreds and thousands of Jews are there and we're all there smashed together, davening, I'm on a high. I love it. And my husband will be, my parents have an apartment in the old city. He'll be upstairs in the apartment and not coming down. And I'm like, how can you miss it? How can you miss it? It is like the highlight of my yontif. And he's like, it's too squishy and everybody's bumping into me and people are pushing me and it's sweaty and it's hot. And when I heard this shiur, I was like, wow, that's exactly it. Like, that's totally not his way of connecting with Hashem. And so maybe it's not your way of connecting with Hashem, and maybe it's your spouse's, and your kids will see different angles from your husband or from you. But if it's not natural for you, then don't try to fake it.
Yeah. I love that. I think that that's very encouraging, because it's like, don't fake the areas that you don't love. Maybe this doesn't have to be the mitzvah that you're going to impart on your child, but because they can smell when something like isn't sincere and when it's coming more out of wanting to impart it on them versus.
Or even coming more from what will the community think. That's a big one, especially for teens, when sometimes a parent is like, my child's wearing this on Shabbos and it's not appropriate. And I challenge them and I say, why is it not appropriate? Because what will the neighbors say about me? That's not a value. Yeah. What will my neighbors say about me? What value is that? Is it a value that you should look nice on Shabbos, dress appropriately for the Shabbos queen, right? If your value is for you that my neighbors will talk about me, your teen will see right through that, and they don't want that. That's not real. That's like faking a life for the neighbors. They want real. So a lot of times with teens, we have to do a lot of searching and figure out, what is the value here? Why does this bother me? Why do I want my teen wearing tyros on Shabbos? Why should they not be walking around in basketball shorts? Why not? So why not? I ask you, why not? Why do you not like it? And if the only answer you can come up with is because my neighbors are going to talk bad, you have to do some soul searching and figure out, why does this bother me?
So that point about how very often our parenting decisions could come out of this desire to be approved of by our neighbors or people around us, that could come up really strongly around like certain societal norms. How does one differentiate within themselves between those two things?
So it could start with, oh, what will my neighbors think? But it can't be the end. Like, that can't be your only reason. The Torah is not based around like your neighbors are going to think that you are not on a high enough frum level. Is there a value here for you? And if there isn't, a lot of times the teens don't want to do that. They see right through that. They want to be comfortable. I want to wear basketball shorts on Shabbos. It's more comfortable. Tell the neighbors I'm not comfortable. But if there's a value there for you, then that means more to them, especially if there's a relationship and they value the relationship with you and you're so passionate about Shabbos and beautiful. And also, it can't be hypocritical, right? Teens and kids hate hypocrisy. So if it's, behind closed doors, you are doing things that then when you go outside, you tell your teenager, oh, don't do that. The neighbors are going to see.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
I love your expression. You're like, it's not going to work. What are some proactive ways to create more energy of love and excitement around your Judaism in your home? You said one way is to have that overflow within yourself. Are there any other things that you...
Yeah. So another big one is doing things. It's in the Hebrew term, it's Mesiras Nefesh. What level of Mesiras Nefesh do you have for your Judaism, for your Yiddishkeit personally? And then what on your kids' level? So that also makes a big impact on kids. And I say we do a lot of Mesiras Nefesh for regular things, right? Like the orthodontist, getting your kids braces, that's a lot of Mesiras Nefesh, right? You might take them out of school, take them to appointments, wait in the waiting room for a half hour, then wait for the orthodontist, pay a lot of money, right? To get them straight teeth, right? So you might not look at it in a sense of Mesiras Nefesh, but that is Mesiras Nefesh. You're taking out your time, you're taking out your energy, your money, and you're getting them straight teeth, which is important, right? It's worth it. Are you at least having that same level of Mesiras Nefesh for things in Yiddishkeit, for buying tznius clothing for your daughter, right? You want her to dress a certain way. Are you maybe taking her out of school because she doesn't have time when she gets home and the stores are all closed already? Taking her out of school, spending extra money to go to the tailor and make it buying 2 dresses because she really loves this one dress. And now you'll buy 2, and you'll take it to the tailor and it'll be long enough. You're spending energy, you're spending time, you're spending money. And a lot of times we might not think like, okay, that's worth it. What? That should be just as worth it as straightening their teeth, right? But we sometimes think like, oh, no, it's not worth it. We'll just, try to find a different dress. But with tznius, you want your child to feel beautiful. And if they feel beautiful, then they'll want to continue with that tradition. And if they see it's so important to my mother that she's willing to spend energy, she's willing to spend time, she's willing to spend money, then this must be something important. So going that extra mile and doing that really shows them. And with that, there's an extra caveat. It has to be with simcha, like with positivity. You can't be complaining the whole time. Oh, it's so hard to find tznius clothing. It's so difficult. And now I've taken to the seamstress. Oh my gosh, how much is this costing me ready for this one dress? Right? Then they'll feel bad. And you're showing them that it's hard. And being a Jewish person is hard. I'm not like we just went on a family cruise and we didn't go on a kosher cruise. So the comedian was there with us and he joined our meal for a little bit and he's like, what are you guys eating? Like rabbit food? I'm like, yeah, we get salad every meal. That's our staple because the kosher food was like this wrapped airplane food. It was pretty bad. And the dining room was full of delicious looking food. It's hard, right? We have a lot of laws that we have to follow. It's called the yoke of Torah. It is a yoke. And so if we're going to be negative about it, the next generation just looks like my parents, it's hard. My parents complained. It caused so much anger and strife. And financially, it was difficult. Forget it. I don't want this. Right? So instead of giving over in this, we are so lucky Hashem gave us the Torah. And he gave us these mitzvahs that seemingly might be difficult to fulfill in this world where we have to try to find Hashem in this world. And so, yeah, there are challenges. Am I complaining about it, that I have these challenges, or am I rising to the occasion and saying wow, we are so lucky. Look at the world out there and we get to dress modestly. I'm going to do everything I can to help you feel beautiful dressing modestly.
Yeah, I do love that. And I think also another perspective is that instead of hard is that it takes effort. Like what I'm hearing from you is that it takes effort. It takes effort to take your child to the orthodontist. It takes effort to go, but if you're doing it for something that you love, then it's not hard. It's just effortful. So going on vacation is hard. Yeah. It's not hard. It takes effort, right? You have to wake up early. You have to spend money. That's not hard. That's 100%. Effort. So I think the same thing is true with Judaism. Judaism does not have to feel hard, even though it's definitely plenty of effort.
Beautiful.
If there's that love and a drive that this is something I'm so grateful to get to do.
Yeah, great correction. Not the word hard. It takes more effort.
Right.
But if you're going to put it in the perspective of it's too difficult and it is so hard, why on earth would the next generation want to keep it? Especially our generation where everything is in 2 seconds you have it. Everything is, we're trying to make life easier. And then this thing is so difficult. Why do I want it? It's so hard. My parents always complained. It caused fights. Jewish education, so expensive. You're always complaining about it. Why would they want to do it? Let's go to public school. It's free. Maybe better education.
By the way, that actually offers a great perspective on those conversations that happen even amongst adults where you're complaining about the cost of tuition and things like that. Maybe that's not the best. I never even thought of that.
I know, in front of kids, kosher food, how much the markets charge, all those things. If we complain about it, what are our kids getting from us?
Right.
Why would I want to do something that my parents found so difficult and hard, something that they would complain about? Think about yourself. If your parents, not something in Judaism, would always complain that you lived on a 2-story house, and it was so difficult to go up and down the stairs, and I hate it. When you're looking for a house from your childhood, you probably will come into it being let's try to find a 1-story house because we don't want to have to deal with the steps. It would just be a natural next step that you would want to do because something from your childhood was so difficult. I don't want to bring that into my life.
Yeah, when it's framed that way, then that's a really good way of putting it.
Yeah, so the action overflow, Mesiras Nefesh, really needs to be done only with simcha, with happiness, with positivity. Otherwise, it would have the opposite effect.
Yeah. So role modeling where you put your effort, where you go that extra mile, and how you do it with joy.
And you might not even have to say anything. It's just them seeing. It's them seeing this is important to my mother. It's not always about so much talk. If you're not a talker, it's just doing those actions and them realizing, especially as teenagers. Younger kids might not realize it. But all of a sudden as a teen, they'll be like, wow, my mother did that. She took me out of school to take me shopping. Wow. That must be important to her.
Right.
Even your little kids washing their Nagelwasser in the morning, right? Is it important to you? Do you make sure that you brush their teeth every morning? So why does Nagelwasser get forgotten, right? Like, let's brush our teeth. We sing our brushing a teeth song. Hooray, hooray. And then, okay, we're washing our hands. No, I don't want to. Okay, you don't have to. What if they said they don't want to brush their teeth? Would you be as forgiving? Like, I don't want to brush their teeth. Okay, no brushing teeth today. Why is not washing Nagelwasser less important than brushing teeth? That's what you're giving over to your kids. Brushing teeth is very important. Washing Nagelwasser, if you're in the mood. That's the message. We have to like stand on our head and figure out how to get them to wash Nagelwasser, just like we would stand on our head to get them to brush their teeth, right? Why would we throw that one away when that's much bigger than brushing your teeth?
Yeah. So that's something that you speak about, and something that I've heard before that I think is excellent, about how chinuch is about creating these habits of Judaism for your children.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what that looks like to create routines and habits for your children, especially when they're young, where Judaism is just as natural to them as brushing their teeth in the morning.
Yeah, excellent. So that, like we just started with, it can't be a choice. It can't be a choice. Oh, do you want to wash Nagelwasser this morning? Till Sedayim, I don't know what the crowd, how we say it, wash your hands in the morning. It can't be a choice if they want to, yes or no. Judaism is not depending on my mood. I'm in the mood to wash this morning. Great. I'm not in the mood. Okay, also great. No, we're Jewish people. We have a routine of Yiddishkeit. There's a routine of Yiddishkeit. And as a Jewish mother, that's one of our primary roles that we have to give over to our kids. We have to give over the routine of Yiddishkeit. The way that we do that is actually pretty simple. You start with the smallest level, the smallest amount that you think your child could emotionally and physically handle. The smallest level. And it has to be done with happiness, has to be done b'simcha. Once you start a level, it's not a choice anymore. But you're not starting with, let's say, Sunday morning, okay, you're davening the whole half-hour davening that you do in school. No, let's say you have a 7-year-old daughter. What's the smallest level she could handle? She could handle saying Moda'ani. She can handle saying Shema, maybe. What's the smallest level you think she's going to be able to handle? 6 months down the line, she's still going to be saying this happily. Is it Moda'ani and Shema? Great. So her level, you have to say Moda'ani and Shema Sunday morning. And then when you're telling it to her, you're making it like, okay, you're such a big girl now. You have a sitter. You try to make it nice. And usually in the beginning, they are excited. Like, wow, I get done with my sitter at home. And then that's just the routine. Just like every morning you get dressed, you daven. That's just the routine. It has to be done only b'simcha. It can't be done with negativity. When I say b'simcha, we don't expect her to be like, yay, I daven. I'm so excited. I'm going to get my sitter. In the beginning, it might be like that. But after a while, it's going to turn into, I'm too tired. I don't want to. So then we never punish for anything in Judaism. There's no punishment. It would only be done with incentives. And usually, I'm very against that. We never bribe our kids. Let's say, whoever cleans up gets a lolly. Never, never, never. That's not in our parenting technique at all. And so we would not start with that with Yiddishkeit, but when there's a lull, then we do incentivize because there is no punishment. We could do different cooperation techniques of, I'll daven with you. Let's sing it out loud. I want to hear your song. How does your mower say it? And we'll try doing different cooperation techniques. And if still they don't want to, it can't be that we're just going to say, okay, today you're not in the mood, so it's okay. Because then that's teaching them for later on when they're a teenager, I'm just not in the mood. It's okay. I don't have to really. We want it to be just a routine that gets done. So when there's a lull, we'll incentivize it. The more the effort, the more the incentive. It probably won't need to be such a big incentive for that age child. It might just even be a little candy at the end. Their Yiddishkeit could be 100% reliant on you. They don't need to get up and remember daven on their own. You could remind them. That's okay. The point is that and then whatever they did, they get praised afterwards. So even if she opened the sitter, okay, I daven, you would give her praise. You remember to daven? That's excellent. Great job. Whatever level of praise for you. Because the point is not for a 7-year-old to be davening. It doesn't matter. It's not even a halacha. She doesn't need to be davening at 7. The point is to get it into routine for her. So when she's 17, it's a routine for her. And she knows she's getting up and she's davening. And she doesn't have to think about that part. And then when she's 17, she can start to be like, oh, I'm actually davening. I should think about what these words mean. But if it wasn't even a routine for her, it will take much longer to get to that point of what am I saying? Because I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, exactly. So that's interesting because a lot of parents feel like I want to give my children a choice. So how do you find that balance between creating these routines and these habits for a child, and then when they say, I don't want to do it, you say, well, there's no choice.
Right.
But you want them to feel like they're choosing their Judaism and it's not something that was forced upon them.
Yeah. So Judaism, honestly, is not a choice, right? They don't, when they're bar mitzvah, they don't get to choose, okay, do you want to be Jewish or do you not want to be Jewish? They're born Jewish. That's not a choice. Hashem, you are so lucky. Hashem did not give you a choice. You are Jewish. And the mitzvahs are also not a choice, right? Like that's a level of Judaism, like you have to get a bris. That's not a choice, right? It's a choice in the sense everybody has bechira, and you could choose ubacharta b'chaim. Hashem's telling you, please choose life, right? Choose good. We have a choice. We could choose bad, right? That's the opposite of good. So you do have a choice. And once a child is over 13, then it goes into the realm of it's their own relationship with Hashem, and it is their choice. And as a mother, we can help them. And we will say, how can I make it as easy as possible for you? Would it help if I, gave you an incentive? But that would be their choice at that point. But under bar bat mitzvah, then we try not to make it a choice for them, because then we're really putting in the routine and we're not really giving them a choice. It could be, do you want to daven before or after getting dressed, or breakfast? You could give them choices in that, but it's not a choice of if you're davening today. But at the same time, we're not going to punish them for it. So it's only going to be done with positivity. So usually it wouldn't be a negative thing. It cannot be a negative thing. We can't make anything in Judaism a negative thing. So even benching after the meal, they picked up a bencher, opened it, closed it. The response would not be, you cannot possibly have bench. That's impossible. The response would be, I'm so proud of you. Good job. Excellent. Go take a candy. The response would only be positive. And so this 7-year-old feels filled up. Why would he not want to do that again?
Interesting. So is that how you differentiate like once a child is, so this routine and not giving children a choice whether Judaism, that's until 12 and 13. And then after 12 and 13, you do give them a choice and you don't force them to do things. So
once they're teenagers, yeah, then, that's really then they're in charge of their own Yiddishkeit. It's hard to tell parents because a lot of parents don't like to loosen up that control. And they're like, no, they have to go to Minyan. They have to make that decision on their own. I can help them. I could say, how can I make it as easy as possible? Do you want me to walk you to shul? Could I drive you? One mother told me she has a teenager that it's hard for him to wake up. And she told him, after I'll drive you to Minyan, and then afterwards I'll take you for bagels. And he's like, amazing. I love it. Yeah, let's go every morning. And that was such mysterious nefesh on her part, and good for her. It was very important for him that he should go to Minyan. And so she was willing to wake up and take him for bagels afterwards. And he was ecstatic. He loved going to Minyan. She was happy. That's great. But it wouldn't be something that you could tell your teenager, you have to go to Minyan or, find a different house.
Mm-hmm. I actually love that differentiator. I've never heard it said in that way. And I think that that's like a beautiful way of looking at our children's education. Like there's up until even just developmentally, they don't necessarily have the tools that they need to make their choice, like brushing their teeth, what time they go to bed.
Right.
Like I think developmentally also, like when children are teenagers, you're probably not going to be like shutting them in their room at a certain time.
Right.
Versus young children, you might enforce a bedtime.
Okay, that's actually very great that you can see that, because the hardest part of the teen class is letting go. And you're already like, yeah, great. Don't tell them to have a bedtime.
I don't
Most
have
mothers
teens. That's the
are
thing.
like, what do you mean? I have to tell. I even tell parents as teens, when are you going to stop telling them to shower? When are they going to know I have to take a shower because I played basketball? Because it's not, I need a shower, but without my mother telling me, go take a shower. At some point, they're going to be in college. Are you going to be calling them and saying, hey, did you shower tonight? So with teens, it's a lot of slowly letting go. But you're already like, great.
I don't have teens. You can't give me credit because I don't have teens. So it's like a purely intellectual exercise. I'm like, of course, you just let go with teens. And then watch me like holding on for dear life when I have teens. I don't have teens. So don't give me credit.
Yeah. But it sounds like you are going to be more open to it.
But so let's talk about that. So your perspective is when children are small, you are their leader, their parent. You're going to tell them, like, you're going to create this architecture of their Judaism in their life. Now, once they become teenagers, you have a different perspective. What does it look like to educate teenagers, to create an environment of Judaism, to help them figure out their values without giving them no other option?
Great. So you're continuing from that foundation. I love that you called that foundation that you built from when they were younger. A lot of things should be regular routine for them, and maybe they won't be fighting back, right? Maybe they'll just be continuing. With teens, a lot of times comes in peer pressure though, right? And so now other kids are doing this and they'll be bringing different things to you that didn't come up for them when they were younger. And that's where your values start coming into play. So with younger kids, you're definitely building that foundation, and not so many things are rocking it with younger kids. I'm tired, I don't want to, but with a treat, it's usually easily fixable. And then once they become teenagers, that's when different things are coming up. Also, they have different hormones and different wants all of a sudden as teenagers. And I have a lot of mothers that it's first hard for them. Let's say I had a mother that her daughter wanted to read a novel that she looked into and she thought it was inappropriate. And she told her teenager, no, you can't read this one. Every my class is reading it. No, I don't want you reading it, right? And then she went into her bedroom a few days later and she was like cleaning up and she found the book under her pillow. And she called me freaking out. So I said, this is an opportunity now. You have an opportunity to sit down with her. And before you just told her no. Give over your values. Why do you not want her reading this novel? Why do you think it's inappropriate? What is the value there for you? And her and her husband discussed it together. They sat down with her daughter and she called me after. She said, that was the most meaningful conversation I ever had with my child, right? So you do get to this level of, it's not just yes or no. Go deeper. Tell them why you think it's inappropriate, why it's not good for her to be reading this, and give over your values to your child more than just a yes or no. With teenagers, we say yes unless you have a value to say no. And that's huge. With little kids, it's, oh, can I have a cookie? No. Can I have soda? No. After dinner, only on Shabbos, whatever it is. And that's fine. You get away with it. But with teenagers, can I have soda? No. Why not? Yes, unless you have a value to say no. What is your value? Give over your values.
That's great. That like replace no with a conversation about your values.
Yeah. And maybe you'll realize so many no's are coming up. I really have to stick with, do I really care about this? Like even soda. It's a value. It's not healthy, but is it as strong as she wants to go to a party later that I don't want her going to? She's going shopping in the mall with friends. I want to give over values over there, right? There's bigger fish in the sea when it comes to teens that maybe I'm going to have to give into soda, right? Like I need to stick with the big, big values. I try to tell parents, it's not, the litmus test is if she was doing this after she was out of your house, would you feel like, oh, I failed as a parent? So a child drinking soda, let's say you went out to a restaurant, your daughter, she's married with kids and she orders a Diet Coke. Would you feel like, oh, I failed as a parent? And some people might. Really? It's different values for different people. Some people might say, yes, that's so important to me. Okay, so that is going to be a value that you are really going to not give up on. And a lot of other people will say, no, I really won't feel like a failure as a parent. So then maybe it's not worth the no. No's are expensive for teens. So yes, unless you have value to say no. And a lot of things are values. Is it a strong enough value to say no?
Yeah, that's something that I'm thinking about. Even hearing you speak about Diet Coke as possibly like a really strong value for someone, or just health, I guess, and wellness or whatever it is. How granular do you think that a Jewish parent can get about the details of their values for their children? For example, like you want your child to be connected to halacha. Does that mean that they need to be practicing it in the way that you do? You want your child to be connected to Shabbos. Does that mean that they have to have the exact same framework for Shabbos that you do, like the same type of Shabbos table? Like, is that appropriate for a parent to want to copy paste their child? Like, what does it look like to impart values while leaving a lot of space for your child to be their own person because they have their own path in this world?
I love it. Yeah, excellent. So that's also a difficult vision for a lot of parents to see, that there are a lot of different paths in Judaism that are still going in the way of Hashem, still 100% halacha, and might look different than what my table looked like. And I loved your phrase, copy paste. Are we just trying to copy paste our kids to look exactly like us? Or can we be accepting of another way that is halachically correct, but different than what we look like? And we do get to that if your child starts fighting back, right? So if your foundation you built just continues going and your child never fights back and just continues and continues, then great. Everything looks the same. Sometimes kids start fighting back and saying, I don't want to do it like this. Mm-hmm. So then the first level is, how can I make it as easy as possible for you? And still they're fighting back. So the next step is finding a rabbi that, you both can trust and saying, what is the lowest level that my child is still keeping 100% halacha? 100% halacha. What's the lowest level? And for this, everybody has to have their own rabbi. What's still 100% halacha, even if it's not something that you think looks acceptable? I once had a mother. She lives in Israel, and in her community, it is much more women wear pants. And her daughter, she doesn't wear pants, and her daughter wanted to wear pants. So I said, you have to find a Rav, ask the Rav, what's the lowest level that my child's still keeping 100% halacha? Again, I'm not giving stock. Everybody has to ask their own Rav. And her Rav said, if they're loose-fitting pants, it's 100% halacha. And she was really sad. She didn't want the rabbi to say that. She wanted the rabbi to say she has to be wearing skirts. But we can't be firmer than Hashem. And if this rabbi is deducing from the Torah that according to him, it was 100% halacha to be wearing loose-fitting pants, especially in their neighborhood where a lot of people are wearing pants anyway, that would be 100% halacha. The first thing would become to acceptance. Accept that your child is wearing loose-fitting pants, because a lot of people are wearing tight jeans and she's still wearing loose-fitting pants. And that's a really hard challenge if she is even going at that level. And then your child's doing 100% halacha. You should be so proud of her, right? It looks different. It looks different than how you're dressing. It looks different how you thought your child would dress. But Hashem thinks that that's beautiful. So I have to be so proud. And it's really challenging. But another level I give that parents scoff at me, okay, that's not a big deal. One mother, she's in a much firmer community, and her son didn't want to wear the wool tzitzis. And so she asked the Rav, what's a different, a lower level that's still 100% halacha? And he said the cotton tzitzis is totally fine, the undershirt tzitzis. And she was so sad. And a lot of other people oh, okay, what's the big deal?
For her.
Everybody lives in their own communities. And for her neighbors were talking that her son was wearing cotton tzitzis and not wool tzitzis, even though nobody should be talking about anybody. Maybe it was in her head.
Maybe it was a personal value also.
Right.
Hopefully. That was her motivation.
Yeah. That she thought that, why is my child not want to? But if it's 100% halacha, then you have to be accepting and then even be so proud of them. Because from the child's perspective, he doesn't want to be wearing any tzitzis. It's annoying. It's hot. Maybe this kid's sensory, right? And he has a lot of peer pressure coming from different sides. And other friends are not wearing tzitzis. So he'd rather not wear tzitzis. He's wearing tzitzis because he knows it's important to his mother. But she is walking around depressed that he's wearing cotton tzitzis instead of the wool tzitzis. So think about it from the kid's perspective. I'm trying so hard, and still my mother's looks at me like I'm a bum. And so depressed that I'm wearing these tzitzis, I might as well not wear the tzitzis at all. And she'll walk around the same depressed.
Right.
Right? So I might as well wear no tzitzis. And that really makes sense.
But is that a good motivation for a teenager, that I'm wearing the cotton tzitzis because this is important to my mother?
People ask that question. So little kids, they mostly do mitzvahs basically because their parents said to, right? That's one of the most important things as a mother. We have to teach our kids to listen to mommy, right? Don't run in the street. Why? Because mommy said not to. They don't understand, God forbid, what could happen. A car, even if you tell them a car might, God forbid, hit you, they don't understand what that means.
Yeah.
So they're not running into the street because mommy said not to. They're not coloring on the wall because mommy said not to. They're not turning on the lights on Shabbos because mommy said not to. Not because they understand the beauty of Shabbos and because they love Shabbos, right? And so for a teenager, a lower level might be because my mother would be sad if I'm not. And people say to me, oh, but I don't want my child doing something in Yiddishkeit because they'll make me happy. But we really say in davening, I hope I bring nachas to Hashem, And so there is that level of I feel an obligation to bring nachas to Hashem. So why shouldn't my child feel an obligation to bring nachas to his parents and to Hashem? Not an obligation, but that level of I want Hashem to get nachas from me.
Yeah, no, Hashem is one thing, but I actually think it's kind of tricky when it comes to parents, because sometimes there can be this real distortion of Judaism where it's really funneled through our parents' approval versus being connected to Hashem. So for a teenager to have that relationship with their Judaism where it's I don't want to disappoint my parents, that can I don't know about the longevity of that, or even if it does remain, I'm sure it would come along with some complicated emotional baggage.
I think it would ultimately turn into, I don't want to disappoint Hashem.
You think so?
Kibbut Av V'Em is on the side of Ben Adam L'Makom, right? It's not on the side of Ben Adam L'Chavero. There is that connection of there's 3 parents forming a child. That would be how I look at it, because
I hear that.
The beginning is for sure, they don't understand what Hashem is. So hopefully it will mature into the connection with Hashem. But it really first starts out as just because my mother told me not to.
So you're saying that it's a stepping stone for a teenager to care about what their parents think about their Judaism, and then that will eventually
until they
graduate.
Form a connection with Hashem. Slowly, they're forming a connection with Hashem. When a teenager turns bar bat mitzvah, how much? A lot of times we put our level of connection with Hashem onto our teenager. And we're 30, 40 something year old. Mm-hmm. I hope we have a better davening and connection with Hashem than a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Right? I hope we worked on ourselves. So a lot of times we look at this teenager, be like, that's such a fast davening. You had any kavanah? You're talking to Hashem? Right. Do you remember how you davened at 12?
When you were 12, yeah.
Yeah, so they might not have such a deep level of connection. Some do, and that's beautiful. And some will be along their journey and they'll get there. But that's what we discussed in the beginning. They have to just start with some form of routine, even if there's not a connection right now. So they have that routine and that could build a connection. But if the connection comes and then they have to start learning a routine when they're 20, that's so hard. You know how hard it is to break a habit when you're older?
Right.
So if you then have to start forming a habit of, before I eat, I have to make a bracha. That's such a hard habit to start.
Right.
If it wasn't in there from when they're 4 years old. Oh, I pick up something, I make a bracha. Didn't know what they're doing it for? Mm-hmm. You might have told them you're saying thank you to Hashem. They don't really know.
No.
But when they're a teenager, if they already had that habit of I make a bracha, then it could come with connection afterwards.
Yeah. I do hear that. And I think that it's very easy as a parent to make predictions about a child's Jewish future based on you get, there's fear.
Yes.
I even see this with really little kids.
Yeah.
There's fear involved. You see them I don't know, not wanting to wear their yarmulke. And you're just oh my God, you are immediately spiraling. They're not going to want to wear a yarmulke. But no, what were you doing when you were 3?
Right.
Yeah. And it's also being able to stay centered in yourself and not projecting other people's judgments onto your child too.
Yes, the other people's judgments. And also a lot of times for people who are not as religious growing up, for them it's, I'm trying to give you a better life. I'm trying to give you what I didn't have. And if you put it on too forcefully, then a lot of times that also backfires. So
something that makes sense, that you can, because your passion for Judaism is so strong and you worked hard to receive it, it can be hard. It can be hard not to project such force onto your child.
Yeah.
So you have it too. You're mentioning that you call a rabbi and they say this is the lowest halachic thing that's allowed. And sometimes it can be something that's you really don't want, wearing pants or whatever it is, but you can understand that this is still in the path of Judaism that you subscribe to. But very often, many parents, children are their own autonomous beings, and many children choose not to be connected to halacha. And what does it look like to continue to give your children Jewish values with love, even if it looks fundamentally different from what you wish it did? Meaning it's not halachic, but just not your version of halacha, but it's not necessarily halachic, or it's some halacha, some not. What does it look like to embrace and interact with a child like that? So
you're saying the next level. They're not doing 100% halacha anymore. They're doing more b'diavad halacha. They are, the rabbi said, let's say, I had one mother that her daughter wanted to wear makeup on Shabbos. And they went to a rav and he said, really, I have no, there's no way I could tell you that it's allowed. There's Shabbos makeup, but the teenager doesn't do anything Shabbos makeup.
Okay.
And so she didn't want that at all. And still she would come down Shabbos morning wearing makeup. And so the mother knew she was putting on makeup on Shabbos. So at that point, it's, again, she's over bat mitzvah. So this is her relationship with Hashem. That's where that comes into play. You have to do as much as you can as a parent, right? So you said, how can I make it as easy as possible for you? Do you want to go get spray tans, right? And so you'll look darker already during the week. And so you won't need to put on bronzer on Shabbos, right? And she rejected that. And you went to the Rav and you said, what's the lowest level? And he said, Shabbos makeup. And she rejected that. And she didn't want to do it according to halacha. A big fundamental part of the teen class is relationship. If you have a strong relationship with your teenager, that is the safest place for them to be. When you do not have a relationship with your teenager, it's very dangerous for them physically, emotionally, religiously. And so we have an emotional baseline that you should be doing with your child and your teenager that helps the relationship, and saying yes, unless you have value to say no, that really helps that's part of the emotional baseline. And so in this case, she is not doing 100% halacha anymore. But that's not your relationship with Hashem. That's your child's relationship with Hashem. And you did everything that you can to help her, b'charta b'chaim, to choose good. And so it's really out of your hands at this point, right? There's no punishing her for it. She is choosing to do it like this. She knows it's wrong. You told her the rabbi said it was wrong, and she's choosing to do it that way. Just keep your relationship good. The most thing you could do is work on your relationship with her and keep that relationship strong, and daven to Hashem that this child chooses right and goes in the path of Torah, even if it looks different than your path, but continues in the path of Torah, and not to give her emotional flooding, right? Not to walk around depressed, not to walk around sad, because again, she's doing so many good things. This is a struggle for her. She's still on top of the slide. She's still doing a lot of other things good. And anything that she's doing good is a struggle for her. It's hard for her. So definitely give her praise for the things that she is doing good, and keep her in that good relationship with you, even though it's going to be very hard. But don't focus on that one part. Focus on the whole person as opposed to that one thing that they're doing wrong.
Yeah. Someone once told me this. She said her father is a therapist, and he said that sitting and saying Tehillim and crying about your child's religious observance in front of them is equivalent to abuse.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not good.
It's called emotional flooding.
Yeah.
And the image I could give you is like the sapling that's connected to a big tree. If that big tree is falling over, the sapling is dead, right? The sapling needs to be tied to a strong tree. So your child is a sapling. They're struggling right now. They're wavering back and forth and struggling. If you're not this strong tree that they can cling on to, they're falling down, right? If you're emotionally flooding and depressed and sad and crying, you're not helping anybody. No, you have to, it's hard. It's
probably
not
pushing them away emotionally.
Yeah. It's not, I don't want to sound insensitive because it's a very hard place to be in. But talk to somebody, right? Not in front of your kid. Get yourself help where you can be able to have a relationship with this child that doesn't look like emotional flooding. Because that would just be worse.
Right. It's a good visual of being a strong tree when a sapling is figuring themselves out and wavering. Just be that sturdy person that is connected to your Judaism and full of love.
Right.
You spoke about the emotional baseline, that there's an emotional baseline that you want to achieve with all of your children. Tell us what that looks like for younger children and teenagers, because I'm assuming it's a little different.
Yeah, it is different. I can't go into the whole thing. I'll just give one difference, let's say. So with younger kids, it's spending 10 minutes of one-on-one individual time with each child.
Every day.
Every day. It's not easy. It's so important for a relationship. It's a huge relationship changer. It's a game changer. It really is. One-on-one individual time. You don't need to lock yourself in a room. It could be other kids are around, but just focusing on that child, reading them a book, doing a puzzle, playing a game. It could
10
be
minutes.
anything. Parents are like, how do you get it in? Are you watching your kid in the bath? Put your phone away. Watch them in the bath. Relax. Talk to them about their toys, the bubbles, make a beard, a funny thing, whatever. Doing homework if it's emotionally, taking a walk, anything that you're spending one-on-one time. That's with younger kids. With teenagers, a lot, when it happened for me, when my kids turned into teen, it was actually like a weight off my shoulder because as they're getting older, it's harder to find like things and they're busy with friends and they have more homework and they're not around as much. So finding that 10 minutes that like, I have to spend 10 minutes with him, but like he's out, he's busy, he's playing. And then like, so it's more about being available. It's not about spending 10 minutes. It's when they want to talk or do something or need something, you're available when they want it. They want to go to CVS to buy something. They need to go to Target. They left a notebook by a friend's house. They want you to drive them to a friend's house. They need you to drive them to a bar mitzvah. Could you take me for ice cream? It's the mind shift of not, hello, don't you see the other kids in the house? Wait your turn, right? I'm busy. I'm in the middle of doing everything else for everybody else. And teenager, you're older, you can wait. It's, sure, I'm available. Oh, somebody else is home could stay with the little kids? Yeah, let's run to Target right now. Right? Being available if you can. If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. And then they can learn, oh, sometimes she can't. But if they're never the priority, if it's always, hello, look around, read the room. Don't you see I'm busy with other kids? Don't you see I don't have time for you? And then after everybody's asleep and everybody's at bed, then you go knock on the door. Okay, what did you want to tell me about today? I'm busy, Mom.
Yeah.
And then they learn, I'm never a priority in my mother's life. But if they see that you really make an effort to be available for them, to take them, they're having an overnight. Can you take me to go buy snacks? Could you drive me to my friend's house? And if you really try to be available, and then one time you can't because nobody is home to watch the other kids. So I really can't leave right now. Nobody's home to watch the other kids. Then it will turn into this awareness of, oh, there are other people in this house. She can't always just drop everything. Mm-hmm. Then they can come to that awareness. But if it's always not now, I'm busy. I'm putting this guy after, later, the message they get is, I'm not a priority in my mother's life. Mm-hmm. I come after everybody else. And it's hard, but once I teach it, I get so much feedback from mothers of, I didn't realize I was supposed to. If I'm supposed to, okay, I can do it. And the teenagers really appreciate it so much. I have mothers that tell me like her teens, if she was like he asked her to take him to a bar mitzvah on a Friday afternoon and she said, yeah. And he was like, really? You can? Okay, thank you. She's like, by the fact he was so shocked, I feel bad. But his reaction also, like he felt so happy that I was available for him. And I like to give the example of like a husband. And then it sometimes backfires also because mothers are like, oh, I always do that. If your husband calls you throughout the day and it's always like, I'm busy, not now, after the bath, bad time, giving supper, not now. And at the end of the day, you come and you're like, okay, I have 10 minutes for you. Is that a relationship? Mm-hmm. So with a teenager, you're really teaching them how to have a relationship with the other person, with another person, with a spouse, with a friend. As they're getting older, they're learning how to have more mature relationships. And you're modeling a good relationship by being available for them because hopefully they will learn to be available for their spouse and their children and their friends instead of just after everybody else is in bed.
Yeah, that's a really good point that like adult relationships are predicated on the idea that like you try to be available when the other person needs you. Obviously, right. Sometimes you can't be, but for the most part, that's what you're trying to do for the other.
Right.
Yeah, that's well said.
Yeah.
And also that like when they're finding you, that's when they're open and available for relationship building versus when you're ready, they might be otherwise engaged.
Yeah. And when they come home from school and they want to, is dinner ready for them? And a lot of times teens can do everything on their own, but just because they can, should they? Like they can make their own meals. So should they? Mm-hmm. If you're not supplying their basic physical needs anymore and also not available for their emotional needs because you're always pushing them off, then what do they need you for? Mm-hmm. You're not there physically. You're not there emotionally.
Right. something I've heard from you that I was curious about was physical touch with your children. How much physical touch plays a role in like developing that relationship? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, so that's one of the emotional needs for younger kids and teenagers. And younger kids, it's the basic line is 2 to 3 times an hour when you're at home. And for very little kids, mothers are like, oh my gosh, it's way exceeding that. But once they turn into those more independent ages of like 7, 8, 9, where they start showering themselves, getting dressed by themselves, then it's really a time to be conscious of the physical touch because it's a real emotional need. And some kids are emotionally aware to tell you, I need a hug, but I find most kids are not in that category. And it's not even a hug. It's physical touch is any touch. So it could be rubbing their shoulder. It could be making their hair as long as it doesn't kill her. It could be tickling, reading a book and sitting on your lap, touching their hair, touching their backs. Any physical touch you can get in is so important. I've had so many clients that we literally start at the baseline. That's the first emotional need. And the mothers are like, no, my son's not like a touchy-feely type. And I'm like, they still need the physical touch. And I had one mother that her child, it was like the biggest shift. He's 9 years old and he was having a lot of difficulties. And we started with physical touch 2 to 3 times an hour when you're at home. She said that she didn't even recognize her kid after 2 weeks. He started coming and laying his head on her shoulder, playing with her hair. She said, this was my tough guy. And all of a sudden he was like coming and cuddling with her. And you have to initiate it. They are not necessarily coming to initiate it, but if you're not doing it in the in-between years, then all of a sudden you have this like big man in your house that you haven't touched for years, and then it's awkward to touch your teenager. And teenagers, the physical touch is unlimited. So it goes from 2 to 3 times an hour to unlimited. So they need it even more than younger kids. But if you didn't touch them in those in-between years, then it's like really strange to start touching your teenager. So if somebody didn't touch them, I have mothers that literally break down in the teen class because they haven't touched their teenager for years and they start crying. One mother actually told me that her son, she's such a good mother and she does so much for her kids. And she always felt this lingering madness, like anger in him. And she didn't know what it was. She's such a good mother. She does so much for him. And we learned physical touch. She said, it's for sure that he has this emotional need I wasn't filling. And either he was embarrassed to say or he didn't even know himself what it was. Yeah. So she doesn't remember the last time she touched him. He's 19 years old. She doesn't know the last time she touched him. Touched. And so I said, just start just touching his hand. You don't have to start with a hug and a kiss. Just start touching his shoulder. Just start touching him anywhere. And Baruch Hashem, she did. But she said she felt that she had felt this anger and she didn't know what it was. And another mother, we have the end of the story for her because she came to my class and then she came to my class again. And she came to my class at one point and she had a 17-year-old and she realized that when he was in the in-between stages, she had a newborn baby and she was like head over heels over the newborn baby. And she sort of just pushed away the teenagers because they could do things by themselves. And he would come home from yeshiva and she was upstairs putting the baby to sleep. And teenagers understand. So he's not going to come up and bother her because he knows she's putting the baby to bed. And she was just very into the newborn baby. And that was when he was like 11, 12, 13. And so then it got weird to start touching him again because he went from an 11-year-old to a 13-year-old. Now he looks like a man and it doesn't come as naturally anymore. And then she took my class when he was 17 and she didn't remember the last time she touched him. And so then she started touching him again and she came back 2 years later and she was crying in class and she said that she started touching him just like not hugs and kisses, just inadvertently, creatively. And now before he leave the house, he would wait for her by the door and she would have to go up the steps because she can't reach his head, but he would like tilt down his head for her to give him a kiss on his head. And she's like so heartwarmed by it that they really accept it when you start giving that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's like it really speaks to me. I think like you're hitting on something so real for children that you wouldn't necessarily, like you have to be intentional about fitting it in and children can't ask for it, but it does create like a closeness and an emotional connection that obviously like children need touch from their parents.
Yeah.
Some parents do it very instinctively, but some parents don't.
Yeah.
So I love that as like a framework for building emotional connection with our children.
Yeah. But again, however it's natural for you. People ask me like, oh, is it okay if I'm hugging, kissing my child, like if they're, older? And I said, whatever feels good for you, do it that way.
Yeah. To figure it out in a way that feels like authentic to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just to close, if you're sitting across from a parent who wants to create an environment of love and Jewish joy and values, what would be just like your quick, like 3-sentence statement to them, or one?
It would really be authentic and find it in yourself. And don't be embarrassed or shy to give it over. I find sometimes we're just like guarded with our emotions. With Yiddishkeit, don't be embarrassed. Don't be shy. Let them see what's important to you. Let them see what you love and enjoy about Judaism, and don't be embarrassed about it.
Beautiful. And what do you love and enjoy about Judaism?
A lot. I feel like every time it's a Yontif, my kids, I say like, oh my gosh, it's my favorite one. They're like, you said that last time. And I'm like, I know, I just can't choose. I love, something my kids also, I love Eretz Yisrael. That's like a big one for me.
And you're moving there.
And yeah, I'm Eretz Hashem. So that they definitely see that in me, and just all the Yom Tovim have a special place in my heart. I guess I love doing that. Tefillah, I love davening, singing. I guess those are big ones for me.
And what's your favorite thing about being a parent?
What's my favorite thing about being a parent? I mean, it's like a weird thing. It's so much fun.
I love that.
It's like you always have these people to have fun with, and like who love you and you love them, and get to do things that you enjoy together. So it's fun.
I love that. That's such a cool thing to hear. I love that. Yes, it's fun. It's so much fun. That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you for this. This was wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share.
Oh, my absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. New episodes come out every Sunday and Wednesday morning. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen so you don't miss a single one. We love hearing your feedback, so email us at info@humanandholy.com. Reach out via our website, humanandholy.com/sponsor, to sponsor an episode in honor of a birthday, yahrzeit, loved one, because you want to bring more of this work into the world. Thank you for being here. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Bye.